sales, your stores, distributors, wholesaler, partner, they all have to do this function. Does that make sense? Can you sell your product in Korea if nobody knows about your company? Can you sell it? You don't even know about your company. There's no awareness, right? If they can't test your product, you've written your entire documentation in English. And today they have a big debate in the central government about English versus Hindi, right? Or Telugu. So, what if your customer is a Telugu or a Hindi, and has not even studied English? And you've written all your documentation, your performance, your marketing collateral in English. You think you can sell your product? So, when I go to Korea, my documentation has to be translated into Korean. When I go to Taiwan, it has to be translated into Chinese. Chinese also there are 3 languages. Same thing, So, the evaluation phase requires you to help the customer understand it in their language, in their thinking. Purchasing, another big issue, which is, how do they buy your product? Some countries have got import duty. Some countries, do not like foreign goods coming into the country. Or some countries might say that, you can buy the product, but only if you open some sort of financial document. Like India is very difficult. I have customers in India too, for opting. But to sell a chip, to ship a chip into India in 1990s, was so difficult. My customer had to go ahead and get Reserve Bank permission, then they had to get customs permission, then they had to get some state government permission, then they had to get, they had to get about 20 documents to buy one sample chip. And I've got no time sitting in Silicon Valley to fill out 20 documents for his RBI permit and for his customs permit and for his state government license and so on. So India was a total mess. It used to take me 6 months, and finally the only way it worked was I had to smuggle the chips in. That was the only way that these guys could actually fly to Silicon Valley, put those chips in their bags, hide them somewhere, and bring it to India so that their engineers could test and build a PC. Right? So you can see that purchasing itself can be a mess. You would think that purchasing should be easy, right? But only now India has opened up a little bit, where everything is, they're allowing the import of prototyping equipment and chips and so on without, there were so many of my customers, you would ship them 1,000 chipsets. A month later, it's sitting in customs because the customs guy says, I've never seen these chips before. What do they do? What is the price? तुम बोलता है कि 50 रुपये का है, but it's really worth 500 rupees. How much customs duty should I charge on it? Is it right? Is this a CPU? Microprocessor have a different rate than a logic chip. And imagine a customs guy. He looks at a number and he doesn't know anything about it, and yet he's making a decision as to how much customs duty to charge. So as an entrepreneur, you're going to face all kinds of problems just shipping the product. The guy says, look, the chip is stuck in customs, I've not received it, I'm not going to pay you the money. I'm sitting in the US trying to figure out how to get it. And then he says, I've only got rupees to send you, but there's no RBI permit to convert it to US dollars. And this is now repeated in 10 countries. Taiwan has its own regulations, Korea has its own regulations, Japan are stuck. Just going from awareness step to evaluation step to purchasing step to delivery to after sales. You know, we would ship a chipset, everything is working in Silicon Valley. We send that board, all you're going to do is plug in the power, hook up the computer, the TV, with a monitor and the hard disk and everything. It doesn't work. You know, something is wrong. And it could be as simple as, in the US we got 110 volts, here it's 220 volts. Right? In other cases, in India, we would have voltage fluctuation. It works and it stops. It works and it stops because the voltage is not a flat 120, 240. And sometimes it's 220, sometimes it's 280. The voltage fluctuation kills your motherboard, kills your PC. So, you know, after sales support becomes a nightmare. And then you got a 12-hour difference on top of that. Who wants to, you know, how do you support people, you know, if you have a 12-hour difference, right? And whether you go, once you cross the Pacific, it's 6 hours or 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours. Never less than 5 to 6 hours. So your working time together is slower. So after sales support, so you can see that channels becomes the key to you having a great product which is perfect for your segment and getting it to people. That's it. And the channel does the job. So you would actually set up these channels in all these countries, distributors, reps, wholesalers, whatever, and you fly them to America. And then we will train them. I had some Taiwanese people who speak Chinese on my engineers. I had them train my Taiwanese and Hong Kong and customers. Like, you know, you learn the language, you speak the language. Even though our documentation is English, you can explain in Chinese. So I did all of those things in order to train the channel. Then we would make the channel buy our product. And the channel is then going to sell it. So basically, channel becomes the key to your success. Does that make sense? How important channel is? You'll find that everybody's important. Value proposition important, customer segment important, channel important. And then the next thing is customer relationship. Yes.
So, is the motivation for the channels to be monetary?
All they care about is making money. Everybody in business is there to do money, make money. There's no charity here. If you tell somebody to do charity, you might do it one time, that's it. In fact, we always say that anything you get for free is the most expensive thing you can get. Because they'll expect 10 times more in return. So, you know, we tell our salesmen, you know, whenever possible, give free gifts, free dinners, free drinks, free trips, whatever. Because we know that they build up, he owe us a favor back, which is going to cost him 10 times more, 100 times more. So, but you know, customer relationship is the next big thing. The customer relationship, you know, they decide that they're going to buy your product versus somebody else's product. Because very often, you have the best product, and it happened all the time. You have the best product, but our competitor is a Taiwanese company. All my customers are in Taiwan. So the Taiwanese customer tells his Taiwanese competitor, tells his Taiwanese customers, tells my Taiwanese customers, oh, that's an American company. Even though he's got Taiwanese engineers and co-founders, it's an American company. We are the ones who are from Taiwan, and we are going to take care of it. We are next door, we provide you customer support, we provide you this, that, etc. And that's how they compete with us, through customer relationship. So what we had to do was, we set up a big subsidiary in Taiwan. Because by setting a big subsidiary in Taiwan, we would say, we are Opti Taiwan. we are Taiwanese too. So you basically have to have good customer relationship if you're going to succeed in selling against your competition to a particular customer. Sometimes you're going to set up a subsidiary like that. Every time you can't. So then as a CEO or a founder, you build a relationship with the customer. Really become friends, figure out what his family is, figure out, take gifts for his family, whatever. When you become friends with the key decision makers, and these days because of internet, etc., we can keep in touch very easily. Right? So, what I would do when I had, these days with Dino, when I had customers from South America, they all speak Spanish or Portuguese, from Europe, they speak different languages. So when they ask a question, I'll figure out what language they are in, and I'll put it into Google Translate, translate it into Spanish or Portuguese or French or whatever, and send the answer in their language. So, when you have to do customer relationship, you think of how to connect with the human being on the other side. Right? So now you can see how comfortable he feels. The Hispanic, it's so much easier for him to figure out a Spanish answer or a French answer. The answer is in French or Spanish. And you've got all these tools now, which you never had. So, the customer relationship, you're either acquiring a customer, holding on to a customer, or increasing the sales. Three things. And depending on the kind of business you have, you can either do it personally, or you can say, here is all my documentation, self-service. So, these days I've created an online portal. So I'll explain a few things to you, but the rest is self-service. Right? You guys have to figure out. Everything is there on the portal. Whatever I forgot, did not cover because we didn't have enough time, you're going to go to the portal and figure it out. Right? So I'm giving you a self-service teaching. I'm using my students and training them to do self-service. So this is very effective because now, even if you're not there in the class because you've got some stuff going on, some other classes or whatever, you can do self-service. And that's really important. Otherwise, when we have to get money out of the bank, we have to go and search for the Bank of Baroda. We only have 2 banks in Baroda and, Ahmedabad. Now we go to search for the Bank of Baroda branch, go during the working hour, stand there for 1 hour in front of the teller to get your 100 rupees. Now you can go to any ATM, self-service, whether it's Bank of Baroda or Axis Bank or even a Citibank, and you can pull out your money. You've got much better service. So, automated services, self-service, all these are wonderful things that you can add to your product to make it more competitive. Banks that do not have ATMs don't exist anymore. Because all the customers automatically move the business to ATMs only, to somebody who's got an ATM. You don't have an ATM, the bank disappears. Imagine providing self-service, an automated service became the key success factor for a whole bank. A bank's job is to take money and divide it and share it with people who need money, give you some interest in return, and yet self-service and automated services became the key success factors. Can you see how it can change suddenly on you? About 8 or 9 or 10 years back, ATMs started coming, and boom, all of a sudden, ATMs, and then finally, only some banks were initially allowing you to use your ATM card in Singapore, USA, London. So when you go on a vacation or a trip, you find that, only ICICI Bank ATM card works in Singapore. guess what? As soon as you come back, you will transfer all your money out of Bank of Baroda and put it in ICICI. You see how important sometimes one small element of customer relationship can determine, your entire business can fall apart, because as technology changes, as customer behavior changes, you're going to keep evolving your customer relationship. Does that make sense? So, customer relationship. So, customer relationship is very important. Customer acquisition is important. Customer segmentation. And then channels is important. And value proposition. So, 4 important things. Nothing that can be ignored.
I think feedback is also important.
Feedback.
Like taking feedback from the customers will also make the customer feel that they are involved.
Exactly. That's a very good point. Especially when you're selling a technology product or a high-end product, which is very customer specific. You must get feedback from the customer so that the right feature is in it. And the feature that is really not needed, you're going to drop it no matter how much you like it. As an engineer, you love to do complex things. But the customer might want something simple thing, but something different. You got to drop your ego to do a complex solution and just give you a simple thing. That is probably the most difficult thing for good engineers.